Hello to any fans of the Canadian Football League out there. I know you're out there. I'm not the only American that watches the sport. It is a great game. The games are always great, though there have been some blowouts recently. But wow, time sure flies, doesn't it? Seems like yesterday I was eagerly counting down the days until the 2016 CFL season starts, and now here it is, 2.5 months already gone. We're already halfway through the CFL season, and of course close in on our league, the National Football League. But on to the Canadian League. The second quarter of the season has been quite captivating. We've seen some nail biters, particularly one in between the Lions and the Stampeders, which was for first place, which had the Lions blowing a 15-point lead in over 2 minutes. Of course, that's Vancouver for you. Can't hold leads, can't win Stanley Cups, can't keep NBA teams. Vancouver, what are they good for? But except for being the city that where Supernatural, one of my favorite shows, films. But other than that, as far as sports, Vancouver sucks. But and yet the Lions, I say that halfway in jest, though I've seen the Lions and the Canucks enough to know that Vancouver can't play sports well. But the Lions are actually closing in on first place. Calgary leads at 7-1-1. They are a dangerous team. See, they are a dangerous team. I learned that in only my fourth year of watching Canadian football. The first season I watched was 2013, and even then Calgary was kind of good. But the year after that, they won the Grey Cup, and since then they've been dangerous. And Calgary's at 7-1-1, and they're sitting on top of the West, but it's a pretty close call. And speaking of the West, I'll say this in my best Canadian accent. How about those Bombers, eh? It's amazing. The Bomber. Now, here's what I've learned. From Canadian football fans. The Bombers aren't exactly a model franchise. Haven't been for a while. But they are on a tear. They have owned the second quarter of the CFL season. As a matter of fact, they ended the second quarter unbeaten. They've won every game they played from weeks 6 through 10. It's amazing. They were 1-4. They were at the bottom of the West entering the second quarter of the season, and now here they are at 5-4, tied with the defending champions, the Edmonton Eskimos, for third place. And Winnipeg has the tiebreaker because they beat Edmonton this season. So Winnipeg, even though they have a 1-3 divisional record, that was their one win against Edmonton. And Edmonton is 3-1 in the division, and Winnipeg was a 1 loss. That's why they're they're not in the bubble. I'll explain that a little bit later. But yeah, Edmonton's been losing to everybody, yet they waltzed into Toronto and blew us out. Oh boy. Oh man, I don't get Edmonton teams sometimes. The Edmonton teams suck against everybody except my teams. Like the Oilers when they had Taylor Hall, they seem to suck against everybody. But when Hall played against the Avalanche, oh boy, we couldn't stop him. But on to the East Division, which is a cesspool again. Now I remember about 2 years ago, the East Division was bad. Hamilton won the East at 9-9. Montreal was a playoff team at 9-9, but I think Hamilton, I forget what their tiebreaker was. I don't think it was head-to-head either. It might have been divisional record. That's how they won the division at 9-9. And here you have Ottawa. Ottawa has fallen off. Ottawa's the first quarter season. Ottawa was great. They were unbeaten their first three, winning their first 2 games, and then they had their home opener where they finished when they had their home opener against Calgary, where they ended 26-26. But they were kicking ass in the first quarter. They have not won a game in between weeks 6 and 10. They have not won a game at all. Well, actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. I don't know where my head is. They've only won 2 games. They've only won 2 games since starting 2-0-1. And it's been it's been a terrible tear. But the East is so horrid. The East is so horrid after the first half. Ottawa at 4-4-1 is in first place. See, there it is right here. This wonderful app. But yeah, Ottawa at 4-4-1 is leading the East Division. Meanwhile, my Argos, thanks to Hamilton losing in Calgary in the second half, in the last game of the second quarter of the season, yesterday, I meant, Toronto at 4-4 is in second place, which is an important playoff position. And I say important because as bad as the East is, the crossover can happen again. As a matter of fact, if the season ended today, Edmonton would be the crossover team to the East, but they have to go to Toronto to play the semifinal. See, that's beautiful. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. 9 teams. There are 9 teams in the league. 6 of them qualify for the playoffs. It's the top 3 in each division, supposedly. However, if a 4th place team in one division has a better record than has a good enough record, that team crosses over if they're better than the 3rd place team in the other division. And according to this, that could happen if the season ended. If the season ended now, Toronto would be in. We would host the semifinal against Edmonton. BC and Winnipeg will play the West semifinal, and I think that would be a pretty good game. There's something about Vancouver and Winnipeg getting together. I've seen Canucks-Jets games in hockey; they're pretty good. And but yeah, the East Division is tepid. It's terrible. It's mediocre at this halfway point. Ottawa's in first place at 4-4-1. Remember, they go by a points system in Canada, not by percentages and games played, because if this were the NFL, Toronto would be in first place because they played one less game. They have a game in hand over Ottawa, but they go by a points system. 2 points for a win, 1 for a tie. So Ottawa has 9 points in 9 games. Toronto has 8 points in 8 games. So Ottawa's in first place. Toronto's in second. Hamilton's at 4 and 5, knocking on the door. Even last place Montreal has a shot to win the division. They don't have to go on a big ass winning streak. They just win enough games and they can pass all of the Ontario teams. And Hamilton won. They've been in first, but they blew it. That's Hamilton for you. And I say that even though when I first started watching the Canadian Football League, Hamilton was in the Grey Cup game in 2013 and in 2014. Matter of fact, they almost won the thing in 2014. But yeah, Hamilton's been to playoffs every year since I've started watching, and they played in the Eastern Final every year, winning it the first 2, but losing to Ottawa last year. And Toronto, they've given me the Argos give me a headache sometimes. A lot of times we played very well, we kick ass, and then I see us get destroyed, and I don't know why. We get beat. Our home record is terrible. We're 3-0. We're 3-0 on the road, and that includes a win on July 31st in Ottawa to move into first place. But we've fallen off since then. We have blown opportunities to move past Ottawa when Ottawa loses. When Ottawa loses, we lose, and it's awful. We need to start winning. We need to really start winning at home. The Argos are 1-4 at home, and the one win was against Montreal. Who the hell can't beat Montreal? But that's one thing. Montreal is pretty much. Montreal's a terrible team. Well, now they are. Of course, they're not as bad as Saskatchewan. And I say that even though, get this, Saskatchewan's 1 win this season so far against Ottawa. Oh boy. Gotta love the Canadian Football League. Anything and everything happens And I think it's attributed to the rules and the weird scoring. But I love it. I love Canadian football. I stream as many games as possible, and I'll have to stream a lot because Friday's game between Edmonton and Saskatchewan. That's the last game ESPN's networks will show on TV here in the States for another close to 2 months. The next game they'll show on TV here in this country is a game between Toronto and Calgary. I think in Calgary on October 21st. That's like near the end of the season. After that, it's playoff games because ESPN will have some playoff games, and some, not all. They'll have, I think, one division final? No, one division semifinal, one division final, and of course the Grey Cup will be on ESPN 2 in November. So that's the second quarter, the first half. It's been a crazy first half. It's gonna get crazy, and the second half's gonna be crazy, especially the beginning of the third quarter. The third quarter of the season begins on Wednesday in Toronto. Week 11 has Toronto playing 2 games. On Wednesday, we're at home against the Lions. Easy win for us. And of course, Labor Day, spelled with a U up in Canada, capital Labour. Of course, we leave the U out here. And the big Labor Day, of course, that's one thing I learned. Labor Day is all about rivalries. All about rivalries, provincial rivalries, and just next door neighbor rivalries. Like Saskatchewan and Winnipeg play every Labor Day. We play every Labor Day weekend, and it's the Battle of Alberta, Edmonton, and Calgary, and the Ontario rivalry is the Argonauts and the Tiger Cats. Of course, the Ottawa Redbacks will play the Alouettes. That's a regional rivalry because Ottawa is located on that Ontario-Quebec border. That's why French is spoken in that city. But I think as a secondary language, because they're the capital, they cater to English first, then French. And Quebec is the other way around. But yeah, so that's my review of the second quarter. And to any NFL fans, less than two weeks away for the season. Go Pack, go! And to any Canadian football fans out there, I know you're out there. Enjoy the second half of the season because it's gonna be crazy. Good day.